How's it going, everybody? This is episode 8 of season 3, and we're going to talk about Salem,
The Witch City.
because we just went there yesterday, and today we took it off just so we could recoup from all the walking and all the eyesores of staring at the map until we started to finally figure out where we were technically. So we didn't really need the map anymore. But yeah.
But it was so worth it.
Oh yeah.
It was so much fun.
Yeah, we took a bus trip. It was $65 for the day to take a bus and drive down there and drive back. And what can I say? It was awesome. It's 17 years since I last went down. Was definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it definitely was longer to get back there than what it should have been. Let's put it that way. What about you?
I haven't been since I was a child, since I was about 2 years old when my parents took me.
So you're like long overdue.
Long overdue. When we got there, it was incredible. Despite the fact that it was like packed with people, it was still amazing. And all the like historical stuff and all of the everything that we did was just a lot of fun. We're gonna actually go into that.
What, how we got lost and then like find our way? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a funny story actually. Paul and I got in Salem via the bus, like he said yesterday morning, about I want to say about what 10:30.
Some point around
yeah,
that neighborhood.
10:30 in the morning, and we had boarded the bus at like what was this? 6:40.
6:40, 6:50, or 6:50 is when we actually left.
Started leaving,
leaving
Vermont. So we get there about 10:30. We get off the bus, and we have this small map in one of the pamphlets that one of our friends gave us, and we're trying to navigate to see where we need to go from the Salem Witch Museum. Keep in mind, Paul and I haven't been back to Salem in a long time, so we didn't have a clue of where we were going per se.
Yeah, I'll kind of clarify. 17 years ago, last time I was in Salem, Massachusetts, was for a class trip in 6th grade when we were going to Washington, D.C. On the way to Washington, D.C., we ended up stopping at Salem, Massachusetts. I remember that because I remember the statue that is right outside Salem Witch Museum. Unfortunately, Salem Witch Museum was so fucking crazy that, of course, I couldn't go inside again like I did 17 years ago, but one day I hope to take a step back into the museum again because it's definitely hard to remember what even goes on in that museum.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we didn't actually get to do this trip, was because it was so crazy. And by the time we got there yesterday morning, like, a good chunk of, like, the tour times were actually sold out. Like, and even when it got later in the day, after we were, had done everything, and we were getting ready to, regroup, it was still, like, hellaciously busy at the Salem Witch Museum. There was a line pretty much worse than what it was when we got there yesterday morning.
Yep.
So, definitely, one of our return trips will definitely make it a point to actually get inside and go through it all.
Yes. Yep. That's definitely going to be a given. But anyway, on to getting lost. So we got there, looked at this map, and we were like, okay, think we can figure this out. What do? We took a left and started realizing at that point in time we must be going the wrong way.
Yeah, so we went away from the Salem Witch Museum. We walked across the street and we walked across like a park, and we actually found one of the Salem locals, and she kind of pointed us in.
Actually, we just need to put it out there. She already knew we were not even from around Salem, so
yeah,
she was already like, "Oh, what are you looking for? I can put you in the right direction." And it's just like, "Thanks." Like,
yeah. So what we were looking for that she was trying to help us find was Essex Street, and Essex Street. For those of you who don't know Salem, Essex Street is like the hot spot. That's where like all of the shops are, all the witchy shops are, like most of the attractions of stuff that you can do in Salem, and a big chunk of the tours are all of that is on Essex Street. So she's like, well, if you go down here, if you turn around and you go down here and you take a left and then you take a right and you follow that street up, it should take you on to Essex. Instead, what it did was, what she actually guided us to was the House of the Seven Gables.
yeah, because you were just like, you want to go straight and then take a left, from what I understood.
Yeah, and so we ended up at the House of the Seven Gables.
And which was ironic because that was one of the spots we wanted to go to, but before we even got there, we were just like kind of at the point of just saying, you know what, I think we need to start walking back, but like continuing our step. So at one point in time, we actually went up a street. I think it was called like Daniel Street or something like that. I don't remember. And actually, to help people out that might be familiar with Salem, we end up taking the street up from where Daniel's house is. So for those of you that may know Salem, but Daniel's house is probably the street that we use to head back up. And we started to head right, and that's when we kind of started to continue backwards, because that's when we were like, okay, I think at this point in time is when I almost feel like I figured out like we were definitely not heading in the right direction of Essex. So I figured we might as well just start walking back. And next thing you know is I'm pretty much staring at this big sign, and all I caught out of it was like Gables or something. And I'm like, oh, look at that. I found the House of the Seven Gables. So we ended up going in, bought the 2 tickets, went to the museum store until the tour was going to begin, which we had like 15 minutes to kill, but I know we probably should have waited for the museum store last, which we did, but we had a nice little stack of stuff that we wanted to get anyways, ready for when we came back out of the tour, and all we had to do was just grab it and get out. Because I had a nice limited edition book of Hawthorne's book for the House of the Seven Gables that pretty much describe the house back in the glory days of when it was like 3, and then I believe it was his sister, as I remember the tour correctly, saying that the sister pretty much remembered what the house looked like with 7 Gables and was telling Nathaniel Hawthorne what the house looked like with the 7 Gables to help put into the book as well. Tessa got a few things inside the museum store too in her little pile. But before I get what Tessa explain what she got, I gotta point this out. So I don't know if this is supposed to be like on purpose or what, but on the bookmark that I also got for the House of the Seven Gables, what that I knew house was spelled House. On the bookmark, it's spelled Hovse, which I thought was very interesting. So I don't know if I'm just like missing something here or what. So yeah. But Tessa, what did you kind of have in your pile before the tour started?
I had picked out a Salem, Massachusetts Witch in Black Cat art print. It's like a 5x7, and it's actually really neat.
Yeah, it was already framed.
Yeah, it was already framed. And then I found
You found a few postcards that you got.
I found a few postcards. We're planning on sending one of our friends one, and I have this thing about collecting postcards wherever I travel to.
That's kind of like me with magnets. So I grabbed a Salem Witch Trial magnet, just like I got a magnet that we're gonna talk about in a minute, but the magnet says I climbed the secret staircase, which we will get to.
Yeah. And I wound up getting a bookmark from there too, which says on it, Salem teaching fine witches since 1692, and it's a wooden bookmark. It wasn't very expensive, but I liked it. Yeah, surprisingly, because it's made out of wood, but I liked it. So I picked up a bookmark from there, and a witch print, and a couple of postcards. And I think that was it from when we visited the House of the Seven Gables.
Yeah, and then we went to the tour.
And then we went on the tour, and Paul was going to record some stuff, but the House of the Seven Gables has a strict policy on
photography and tape recordings.
Yeah, so we weren't allowed to take any pictures inside the House of the Seven Gables while on tour or record anything. So we are sorry about that. That was out of our hands. We were going to, but it's just a big no-no.
Yeah.
So we would have probably had more pictures in our Salem, Massachusetts trip photo album
than what we have.
But we were
Salem is very
strict about photography and recording stuff.
Yep.
So
which sucks. So maybe next time.
Maybe our return trip will take more pictures and stuff like that, and maybe do something else.
Yeah, it depends. So I'm gonna just say now, the first room that we went to inside the House of the Seven Gables, I was almost touching the ceiling because that's just how small the room was, and I'm like 5'11", so you gotta think like if I was almost touching the ceiling,
Yeah, the ceilings were really low, and the reason why the ceilings were so low in the House of the Seven Gables or in most houses is because they wanted to retain the heat that was inside the dwellings.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why they had like low ceilings, is because heat rises, and if there isn't really high ceilings and it's a small space, then it pretty much heats up the whole space, and you're not burning through firewood like
you can with a bigger room.
Yeah, like you would with a bigger room.
Which we'll get into too, because let's see, it was what was it? The next room, it started to get a little bit bigger, like not too big, but like you can definitely tell it started to become more spacey. And hallways are not so spacey though.
No. There were a couple of parts inside the House of the Seven Gables where you had to squeeze, and poor Paul had to duck several times because, like he said, the ceilings weren't very high in the House of the Seven Gables. There were a couple of rooms where the ceilings were high, but those were like special rooms, like the dining room and the bedroom and stuff like that.
Especially the bedroom.
Yeah, the bedroom had, I think, the highest ceilings, like the
parlor. Yeah, it definitely has. Definitely, I think, had the highest one. Same with the what do they call it? The entertainment
parlor
room.
Yeah, the parlor.
Yeah, the parlor.
Yeah.
Yep.
And at one point in the tour, after we left the first room, which she talked about, that's the room where she talked about the ceilings, the low ceilings, and the heat. And she talked about the sense shop, which is what sometimes people would do inside of their homes, is they would open up like this little store or shop to sell like things out of their home to make extra money for their families, which I thought that was interesting. There was a lot of stuff to try to retain from
all the tours.
From all the tours that we took, but we're pretty much telling you
by memory
what we remember. But we took in a lot of information on these tours, and we did a couple of them. But anyways, so we get into the next room. She talks about the living room and stuff, or the dining room and stuff like that. And then,
which was pretty much like a pretty fancy room, filled with very, I would say, expensive, like tableware and everything else. I mean, that room was pretty nice looking.
Yeah, it was pretty done up.
Yeah, and then
she was talking about the paint too.
Yeah, what was it about the paint?
It was like a white paint with like copper material mixed into it, which made it react and turn into like this like unique green.
Yeah,
of, like a chemical reaction to the copper in the paint, which we both thought that was really interesting. And the color was pretty, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty color, so it was just like, wow.
Who would have thought of that?
So one of the things that we noticed when we get into this room that we're talking about, the dining room that we're talking about, is that we all get in there and this little door closes that's faded into a wall.
And when we're talking,
small.
What she said, small or tiny door, we mean it.
Like, yeah, it was a very small door. It was like small enough for a child to fit through.
Maybe like a teenager. Maybe teenager.
Not
height.
Like a full-size adult or like a 5'11" guy like Paul.
No, that's when I had to duck.
Yeah, so after we get through like listening to about the dining room and the story about the lady that run the house,
that which eventually couldn't afford it, sold it.
Yeah,
they got it back.
Yeah, it got sold around, passed around quite a bit. The tour guide, Isabella, she opened the door and she's like, do I have any volunteers that want to lead the group? So I, of course, volunteered myself to go to lead the group. And
up the stairway.
Up the secret stairway of the Seven Gables.
Which is what I'm talking about when it comes to the magnet. When it comes to stuff that I kind of like Tessa was saying with the postcard. So it's kind of like one of those like, oh, my Jeep climbed Mount Rushmore or whatever, like that type of bumper sticker. In this case, I got the magnet that pretty much said I climbed the secret staircase at House of Seven Gables. Because, why, babe?
Because as you go up into the secret stairwell of the House of the Seven Gables, this space gets smaller. It gets cramped. It gets holy shit. Like, you feel like you have to, like,
twist and turn your body in ways that you wouldn't even think.
Not just that, but hold your damn breath just to get up into the second part of the house. Just to get up the second part of the stairs.
Third house, I think.
Up into the... Well, actually, yeah, because the stairwell goes up and goes past the second floor and goes right up to the third floor.
Attic.
Right up to the attic. So, yeah, so you legitly have to freaking, like, hold your breath and contort your body in ways that you wouldn't normally have to get up a stairwell, like Paul says. And at one point, when I'm actually leading the group and I'm getting up into the second part of the stairs, I go, holy shit, because it's just like, it's so freaking tiny and small and cramped, it's like almost claustrophobic.
Oh, it's very claustrophobic.
So I would feel bad for anybody who's claustrophobic. I would not recommend doing the secret stairwell. If she offers you to do, like, if your tour guide offers you to do, like, the alternative route.
Like ours did,
do it. Because if you're severely claustrophobic, I would not recommend going up the secret stairwell because it is really cramped. It's like shimmying through, like, a hole in a cave.
Yeah, like, I'm trying to think of another place, I think it's overseas even, where the guy made like a secret room, but in order to get to it, once again, you gotta squeeze through just to get up there. But I don't remember the places, the place at the moment, so maybe...
Which is crazy, because who thinks of this stuff? I mean, oh my god.
I don't know. What makes anybody go through? Oh, I want to make a secret place, but in order to get to it, you gotta squeeze. So...
Yeah, you legitimately gotta squeeze through this tiny little opening.
Yeah, but once you're on top, I was still kind of confused, too, because, like, we got brought up to the third floor that we didn't know at the time was the third floor.
Which is pretty much empty except for a dresser. There was
and,
nothing
like,
else.
A clock.
Yeah, there was nothing else in there but, like, a dresser and a clock. There was no bed, no furniture of any kind. And then you see our tour guide, Isabella, coming through another door in the wall.
The alternative.
The alternative door, which brings us into the attic, or otherwise known as one of the gables of the house.
Yes, one of the gables. This gable in the attic was facing the, what do I want to call it? The ocean. Or the...
Yeah, it was facing out into the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and this is also the part of the tour where Isabella was explaining, like, the structure of the House of the Seven Gables, and how it came to be, and how it's changed over the years, and, you know, what was added onto it, and what it was originally, and all this other stuff. So that's what she was...
Well, that was a lot of information,
That was a lot of information, so I'm just basically telling you, like, I'm giving you, like, a short version of it. And, she, so after we got out of the attic, where did we go? We went
the parlor, right?
Yeah, we went downstairs into the parlor, I believe. And,
Oh, no. We went to
parlor?
No, didn't we go to the bedroom?
Oh, yeah, she brought us to the bedroom. The master bedroom.
Which, yeah, this is where the walls now are, like...
This is where the ceilings are higher, and Paul does not have to duck or shrink himself down or anything like that. He can stand normal.
No, because this is now where the tour guide pretty much said, now because of Nathaniel Hawthorne has money now from, like, his career and stuff, he can afford more firewood, to help warm the house. So firewood isn't really an issue anymore. So that's what happened. The ceiling became bigger and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think. Am I thinking of the right part? You're gonna have to help me remember now. Was it the parlor or the bedroom that had the secret stash?
The parlor.
Okay, so then
the parlor had the secret stash in the wall.
Yeah, so I'll wait on that one. But yeah, also the parlor then that had that ridiculously time-consuming wallpaper that they had to use stamps with.
Yes.
Okay, so then I'm going too far then.
That's okay, but one of the things we'll mention about the bedroom area is that there was this long implement that she talked about that looked like scissors. But what it was in actuality, it was an old-fashioned curling iron that they would use to like heat over the fire, and then like women would curl their hair or men would curl their wigs to get that fancy like curly do that they get with their wigs back then. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that did seem interesting considering I always kind of wondered how
they got that look.
So that kind of helped explain too.
So now, like after we get out of this room and she tells us about the bedroom, the master bedroom, we move on to the parlor, which is a pretty interesting looking room. Like Paul had mentioned a little bit before, this room had very interesting wallpaper,
which was pretty much done by stamp.
Hand stamped and hand painted, like individually. So not one flower on that wallpaper looked identical. It was different in little ways.
Yeah, but like she was saying, pretty expensive and also time consuming.
Yep.
Considering the wallpaper. Then she also mentioned the secret stash that was going on in the parlor, which I want one.
Yeah, it's a door that she opened up, and
it was like a man's dream of having like a secret stash in a way, like where all the liquor and beer would go, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was pretty much one of those things that was just like, holy crap, this is like beautiful. It was so well done, and
what was she also mentioning?
She was talking about the paint.
Yeah.
It was the gold trim was actually gold leaf. It was actually real gold. And there was also like a blue, it was like a really pretty blue color. And that was like, it was like considered like, I don't know, like a royal color.
Royal white blue or something like. Yeah. Anyway, the point of this kind of saying it like that is because unfortunately it got painted over.
Yeah, somebody
painted this beautiful thing over, which I would kill whoever painted over it, but I guess that's me. But we'll talk more about wanting to kill people too at a later point in time, and because there was definitely something else that ticked me and Tessa off as well. But we will get to that when we do.
So, anyways, we get through the tour of the Seven Gables. We get outside, and we get to see the garden, which is really pretty, and the whole backyard of the House of the Seven Gables opens up out into the sea, so you can see the harbor, which is gorgeous. And we went on a really good day. It was
clear blue sky pretty much with a little bit of cloud in the air, 74-degree weather.
Really nice, really beautiful day.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a really good day.
You couldn't ask for a better day for us to go on a bus trip to Salem. We were very happy with the weather.
Yep. Thank you, Mother Nature.
Yes, thank you, Mother Nature, for giving us a good day.
Yes.
Anyways, so we're out in the backyard and she's talking about Nathaniel Hawthorne's birth house being moved onto the property. You remember that?
Yeah, which they
Union.
bought the house from $1.
Yeah, they bought it for $1. It was over on another street called Union, and they had it moved over in 2 pieces, sawed in half and brought over in 2 pieces.
Yep.
So, and there were pictures and stuff on the inside for it.
Yeah, for the move-in of how it was how it came to be. Yep.
Yep, and there was also when we got inside that house, because we got to look around inside Nathaniel Hawthorne's birth house.
Once again, though, no photos, no nothing.
No photos, no recording, no nothing, which was very sad because there was a lot of pretty quotes and poetry and stuff scribed on the walls.
Yeah, there's one that I'm trying to remember what it said. It was like something about the time stand, but the shadow remain or something along the lines of shadow gets left behind or something.
Yeah,
like,
it's the same one I like.
Yeah, like that right there was a really good quote.
Really pretty.
There was definitely another one that we saw where me and Tessa both were just like, damn.
Yeah, because it was pretty deep.
Yeah, that was the one behind the door, right?
Yeah, the one about love.
Yeah, that one's pretty deep. Then there was that other one upstairs that I don't really remember what was said on that one, but there was another one upstairs that was pretty deep.
Yeah, it was another, I think that was another, like, romantic one.
Just like they had the original drawings and the original cover for that book.
Oh, yeah, Pandora's Box.
Yeah, Pandora's Box.
And, Fool's Fable was up there, and some other Nathaniel Hawthorne books were up in a glass display case in his house.
Yep.
So it was very neat and educational. We got to walk through, that one by ourselves. That was a self-guided tour.
Yeah. So that was fun.
But yeah, we definitely enjoyed going to the House of the Seven Gables, and then we took some pictures outside because we were allowed to take pictures outside,
but not inside.
So we could take pictures of the outside of the House of the Seven Gables and stuff like that.
Which makes no sense, but whatever.
And I took some pictures of the garden and outside the gables, and so did Paul. And he took a picture of the sign. And then we went, and then after the tours,
we went back to
the gift shop.
Well, we were going back to Essex Street, so we could find our way back to Essex Street, which we came across a gift shop called Which Way Gift, which there was so much wants in there that
so much wants.
There were just too much wants.
Too much wants for both of us. We could have gone crazy in there with money, but we restrained ourselves.
Pretty much for the most part.
Yeah, we try to enact a good level of restraint, but it's definitely worth the return visit because we definitely want to go back and get some other things that we wanted.
Yeah, hopefully we can maybe get into the museum as well.
Yeah.
Which they need to sell tickets ahead of time, not have to be there to get the tickets.
They should opt an option to like make it so that you can buy your tickets or at least reserve your tickets online and then pick them up
Yes.
Or have them mail them to you, or give you like an email receipt or something like that.
Kind of like I had to do with my tour. I purchased tickets for what was it called? The Haunted Footsteps tour.
The Witch Walk, the historic Witch Walk or whatever.
Yeah, it was called like the Haunted Footsteps tour or something like that. And I bought the tickets online. All I had to do was just print out my receipt of my purchase, and when we got there, we got the little ticket thing, and on the way we went. Now, when we left, we also, I think Tessa also took a couple other pictures too, like the Witch's Cafe and...
Yeah, the Witch's Brew Cafe. I took some pictures of some things down there that were kind of, like cute, like witchy themed things, and I took some pictures of some signs of some gift shops and things that we went into that had some really neat names, stuff like that.
Yeah, which I will say, Witch's Way gift, I actually purchased a, like a poster thing. It's a 17 by 11 poster thing, but it has everybody's name that were victims of the Salem witch trial, which is pretty nice because...
And also the poster that Paul is talking about, the picture, it has each of the victims' names on it, when they were arrested, and when they were executed, and where they were from. And it's really neat piece of history.
Yeah, like, once again, there's way too much information that we even heard on the Haunted Footsteps tour that it's going to be impossible to even begin to explain the tour, but we'll just put it this way. If you think you know enough, you might want to think again.
Yeah, we definitely wish we could have recorded when we went on some stuff, so we could share with you guys what we heard, but we weren't allowed to record on certain things.
Yeah, and I was going to try to record the Haunted Footstep one, but since it was outside stuff, and the guy had to use a speaker box.
Plus we were dealing with traffic and people.
Yeah, we were dealing with traffic and people, and we also had a guy try to join us that didn't pay and stuff, and that was interesting, but whatever, I guess. Yeah, anyway, so we were on our way back to Essex Street. Finally found Essex Street. Find a hotel that I've always been wanting to stay because they do like a Salem. Yeah, Hawthorne Hotel, because they do like a Salem bundle if you stay there. Which for 2 nights, when I was going to plan on going, it was going to be almost around $600, but it's worth it because you're pretty much going to, Hawthorne Hotel is, right in the middle of everything. And when I mean everything, I mean, you're a block away from Salem Witch Museum. Right across the street is where Essex Street is.
You could literally go downstairs, walk out the front door of the lobby, walk across the street, and be on Essex Street.
Yeah, I mean, and then if you even walk out of Hawthorne Hotel, depending on where, if you are looking at where Essex Street is, but instead of crossing the street to go to Essex, but if you cross the street to the left, if you're looking at Essex, like I said, and then you take a little bit of a left again, you're going to end up at that herb shop there. What was it called?
Artemisian Botanicals.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean...
Which is my new favorite, herb shop.
yeah, so, like I said, Hawthorne Hotel is like right in the middle of everything. But the reason why it's pretty expensive too is not only do you get a hotel room for 2 nights, we'll just say, you can actually choose two tickets to two museums that you would love to go to, and one of the quite a few of the ticket options would be like the Salem Witch Museum. Another one is like the Salem Witch Dungeon, I think it's called, or the Witch Dungeon. I forget how exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
I forget exactly which one it is, but I think another one is like House of the Seven Gables. They give you a ticket for too. Like there's a list online as you go to hawthornehotel.com or whatever, and just look up the packages, and it should say like the Salem package, and that's where you can learn everything. Which to me, that's a good deal. But who knows for whoever wants to do whatever. So anyway, so yeah, so we finally found Essex Street, and what, babe?
Oh my God, so much to take in. There's witch shops from the beginning end of Essex Street all the way down to the end of it. Crazy packed. So many people. You got Crowhaven Corner on Essex Street. You've got Omen. You've got Hex.
The Trolley
Old World
Depot,
Witchery.
That one too.
You got Trolley Depot. You got Bewitched. You've got Witch Picks.
Explain Witch Picks.
Witch Picks is a place that you can go to. And you can do anything from doing like a single person to like a group or a couple, and you can get your pictures done professionally, and you can dress up in costume as a witch, a warlock, a wizard, something out of like Game of Thrones. Even you can dress up as pretty much like anything. So Paul and I, we go and we go in to check it out, and Paul decides that it's okay, we can do it. So Paul and I, we sign up, we go, we wait in line for a while, and we wait to get fitted into costume and be brought to set. Which there are three sets that you can have your pictures done on. That you can choose from. If depending on what package deal that you do, whether or not you get one image or all your images. So there's one where you can be standing around a crystal ball. You got another one where you can be sitting on a broom, or standing around a cauldron casting spells.
Yeah.
So Paul, we did all of them. Obviously, we did all three sets. We wound up getting all of our images, and on a USB that we got to take home with us, which is great.
Yep.
And the USB is actually pretty unique. You want to tell them about the USB, babe?
Well, it's like a slide USB. For starters, it had Witch Pick logo on it, and yeah, pretty much what any USB would be, I guess.
Yeah, but it was just pretty neat that it was it had the Witch Picks logo put on it, and it was pretty unique looking.
Yeah.
USB. It's not like something plain, so it was worth the money that we paid for it.
Which was probably the most expensive thing I bought on Salem trip, but whatever.
had 75 pictures taken of us.
60, I thought. 75?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they took 75 of us.
Oops. Anyway, I did not know that. But yeah, the idea was, since I'm doing witch picks, because tell them about the plans, babe. Like what's the lowest price you can pay up to the highest?
The lowest price that you can pay for a package is like $35. Plus, they charge you $2.99 to dress you and undress you. And so that's for the lowest possible package you can get. And that's for one image. And then the highest package that you could possibly pay for is paying for the USB, which is about $100, give or take. And you can about $100.
Yeah, but not only are you getting the USB,
you can get
two printed images.
You can get 2 printed images, or you could have things added on, like an 8x10, or a wallet, or a magnet, or a 5x7, stuff like that. You can have stuff added on, but they add you like an extra $10 to $14 for each add-on you put on.
Yep. So I just went with the $80 one.
Paul just went with the USB, buying the USB, got all of our images, so we could just bring it home with us, and we could decide what images we want and print them up at our leisure.
Yeah, that way
we could print up as many as we wanted.
Yeah.
And not be charged like an arm for it.
Not just that, but we also got permission to do it too.
Yeah, we got the rights for it.
We have the right to print them out, so because we even asked that, or you did.
Yeah.
And what did the lady tell you about it? About the permission?
She's like, I know some places will, restrict you, based on, like, if you have rights for the pictures because they're done professionally from this establishment or whatever, or another. But the rights are on the USB, so don't worry. You won't have any problem printing them up. Just tell them that you have the rights to them. And
yeah, we still even need to actually do that, too. We still need to look at them and actually see what's on the USB itself.
Yeah, we got to go through our pictures and figure out which ones we want to print up and stuff like that, and frame and
all that other goodness.
But it was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, surprisingly. Even though it took like an hour. But, holy shit.
It was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah.
So, after we did that, we went and explored various witch shops around Salem. I can't remember all of the names, but we went into quite a few.
If it sounded interesting, we pretty much went in. So.
Yeah, if it sounded interesting or appealing, or if we saw something in the window that caught our attention, like me with most shiny things.
Yeah, like Bewitch, Omen, Hex,
the New England witchcraft shop.
Yep. Yeah, there's just way too many to even keep track.
Yeah.
So.
There's a couple that we didn't get to go to this time around, but we definitely plan on our return trip, like maybe for like our anniversary, our 2-year anniversary, we want to go back to Salem and, spend a weekend there. But there was, we didn't get to go to Enchanted. There's a candle place in Salem called Witch City Wicks that I wanted us to go to and check out, but we couldn't flip and find it.
Yeah, that was weird.
And we couldn't find Enchanted either because Enchanted wasn't on Essex Street at all. It was like on a totally different street somewhere else in Salem.
We didn't know that.
Which we didn't even know that until we like searched it on the internet. And what else?
We didn't get to, a chance to take a look at the witch house.
Yeah, the witch house, or the witch dungeon.
No, because I don't think witch dungeon was even on Essex either.
Mm-mm.
I forget where that is anyway.
No, it was on a different street, but like we already have a list like compiled up already of places we want to, go to and venture to that we didn't get to go to this time around. And then we have ones that we definitely want to revisit when we go back, like certain shops that we really liked. Like, Paul and I really enjoyed Hex, Old World Witchery Shop.
Which Way
Gifts we really enjoyed. Omen was pretty cool looking on the inside, so wasn't Bewitched. Crowhaven Corner, we freaking absolutely loved their bookcase in there.
Yeah.
We noticed like 2 books that we definitely want to get when we were getting ready to leave Salem last night, but we weren't able to get them, but we
put them down as a reference so we could remember the titles.
So we could get them
at some point in time.
But like all of these places that we got to go to were just a lot of fun and so much want. Like,
you should also say what was also in Hex?
There is an altar inside of Hex shop that is dedicated to honoring the dead. And that is honoring your loved ones or people who've passed, like famous people like Tom Petty and stuff like that. I saw pictures in there, him on there. And,
yep.
Where you can write down like the name of your loved one or someone you care about that has passed on and put it on the altar. And there's actually a human skull
named Robert
that sits upon this altar, and you're not allowed to put anything on it or anything like that because on Robert because it's just considered it's disrespectful.
Yeah, like there's a sign that even said, "Don't put notes in Robert's eyes. He is real." It's disrespectful.
Yeah. So I actually took a picture of that altar too, and put it up on our little photo album thingy on Facebook. But anyways, there's also a statue of I forget her name. I'm drawing a blank, but the witch from the TV series Bewitched, sitting on a broom with the moon in the background of her, sitting in this park that's over by
Hex and yeah.
Over by Hex.
Yeah.
And that was also like a historical point. That was also a historical point in the tour that we took.
Yeah.
Later on that night,
where the old courthouse used to be.
Yeah, with the judge. So it was kind of he kind of the tour guide Giovanni he even like chuckled and said how ironic it is that there's an actual like statue of a witch sitting on this piece of land now.
Oh yeah, because of the whole what was it? Because of the joke pretty much is the fact that pretty much karma came back and bit him in the ass.
Yeah, pretty much
is what the joke was.
Yeah.
I just can't remember how it went, but yeah, pretty much it was just saying like how like no witch will be like nothing witchy or whatever will be like on the old courthouse's land or whatever, and then like 300 years later, there's a witch statue on the property.
Yeah, that is pretty funny and comical in my opinion.
Yep, and like the joke was pretty much trying to say like karma comes back and can bite you in the ass.
Yeah, karma comes back and bites you in the ass.
But yeah, it was pretty funny. That guy that did the tour actually did a really good job. He knew his shit, which was really cool, really good.
Hence why we tipped him at the end. Yeah, we gave him a tip at the end because he was really good.
Yeah, he was really good. He was hilarious too, trying to make some jokes while he was telling us the historical stuff. But it was all fun and games, especially the part in the tour where he talks about witch cakes. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, where he talks about the witch cakes, where they would take
their own urine,
the urine of the afflicted.
The afflicted, yep. And they would bake it into a cake.
They'd bake it into a bread, and they would feed it to a dog. And if the dog displayed like any like symptoms or any discomfort whatsoever, the afflicted would be condemned as a witch, and yeah.
Yeah, you already know what happens then. So
yeah, execution.
Yep, it's kind of like he did a good job explaining the whole. If you sink in the water, you would drown, but if you were to float, you're pretty much considered a witch.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew, like I said, he knew his stuff, which is stuff I already knew, but it's just good to hear that people like know their stuff too, because I mean, Salem has a lot of history, and it really shows how humanity had changed in the past 300 years, of how like science or whatever you want to call it has proved like our oxygen and organs and stuff like that pretty much is almost somewhat of the reason that we're like almost a balloon that just floats up into the water. It's not like back then where we didn't know, and of course, kind of like that trial, like if you're going to be accused of a witch, let's put it this way, you'll either drown in the water, or if you float to the top, you're pretty much considered a witch. So either way, you're pretty much fucked. So
yeah, there's just no getting out of it.
I'm trying to remember the name of it, but the dunk one, where you get dunked in the chair, like that was another good one.
Oh yeah, that form of torture, very crazy.
Yeah, like they would put you in a chair, pretty much strap you in, and it almost in a way acts like a catapult per se. Like it kind of had like that same design a little bit, but not really. But the idea is like you get dunked into the water, and once again, it's pretty much like you're gonna drown if you don't confess. If you don't confess that you're a witch, then you're gonna drown. It's kind of like the whole
it's a double-edged sword, though. Either way, though, you either confess that you're a witch, or they drown you. And even then, they're still going to kill you.
It doesn't matter anyway, because what I was going to get to is, like, this same thing, this dunking chair thing, is almost like the whole, if you sink, you're screwed. If you float to the top, you're screwed. So the chair is pretty much the same way. Like, no matter what, you're fucking screwed. So it's a lose-lose. It's not even a win-win. And that's why too many people got accused and executed, and except for a few people, because one of them was actually pressed to death by stones. That would be Giles Corey.
Yep, Giles Corey was crushed by stone.
Crushed by Stone, who was also known for the famous quote as "more weight."
He held out for 48
48 hours
before he died.
Before cursing Salem.
And he was an 80-something-year-old man.
81-year-old man that was getting a stone placed upon him, what was it, every hour.
Yeah.
And you gotta think, 48 hours? Ugh. Like, I wonder if they even stopped putting stones on him at one point. Or if they kept it going, because if they did it every hour, that's 48 rocks. And I wonder how big of a size rocks they are, even. Because, actually, wait a minute. I think the tour guide said he had almost well over, what was it? Like 200 pounds, if not more, on him. Because I think they were also saying, like, at one point, one of the judges, before putting, like, the stone on him, would actually step on the board that they were using for the rock to try to make him confess before placing the stone on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then right before he died, he cursed Salem.
So anytime something really bad happens in Salem, the superstition not so much the superstition, but
they believe in the curse.
They believe that it is the curse of Giles Corey.
And another guy, actually 2 more, I think. 3 more. I think 3 more. I want to say it's 3 more. Let's see, we got Lydia Dustin of Reading, who died in prison. We got Ann Foster, who died in jail. They don't even know what the date was when she died in jail. We also have Sarah Osborne, who died in jail, which I remember in school I never really learned anything about her, really. Mainly it was like Bridget Bishop, of course, because she was the first one to go to get accused, which her story is definitely really, really interesting. If you don't know Bridget Bishop's story. Let's see. So Sarah Osborne was the last one I said. And I want to say there was one more. Yes, there is, right here. The last person to die in jail was Roger Tuhaster? I don't even know how to even pronounce his last name. Roger Toothacker or something.
Toothaker.
Toothaker, yeah. Yeah. Out of just those names distinct, except for Giles Corey, but the other names I just mentioned all died in jail or prison. Giles Corey got crushed to death with stones, pretty much breaking his rib cage to the point where it probably punctured his lungs and pretty much crushed him to death. Otherwise, everybody else that is on the list here of the Salem witchcraft trials died from hanging. So, yeah. Is there anything you want to add about the tour?
It was very informative, and it was quite enjoyable, and we learned about the various different points in the city, like everything from like the courthouse to the jail to like Bridget Bishop
Birthhouse.
Her birthhouse to like
Sarah Bishop, not birthhouse, but her job, I think it was, or bar or something.
I think so, yeah.
Cause he even was saying, like, sometimes those two names got confused too. between Bridget Bishop and Sarah Bishop, because I guess they didn't live that far from each other, and one would try to blame the other, which the tour guide was pretty much wondering the same thing, like if they meant Bridget or Sarah at one point, because of the whole bar thing, because of the whole Miss Bishop thing, which, yeah, that kind of makes a lot of sense. Because we don't really know which one at some point in time, if it was like Bridget or Sarah. We don't really know because of the whole Miss Bishop. Especially since there were two ladies with the same last name. Yeah, otherwise that tour was very
informationally filled.
Yeah, like there was way too much to take in. Like nobody even asked questions because I think it was just way too much knowledge to take in.
Yeah, it was so much to absorb.
Yeah.
It was almost a 2 hour tour. And it was really good. Giovanni did a good job.
Yeah, I agree. And like Tessa was saying too, that's why we tipped him, because he knew his shit, and that's good. And I would definitely recommend the Haunted Footsteps tour, just like another tour that we
we accidentally
joined in at the wrong timing because we thought.
Yeah, we accidentally joined in on a tour that was actually ending, and we thought it was where we were supposed to go for the Salem Witch Walk, which it surprisingly had the Salem Witch Walk in the title, so that's why we got confused. But we pretty much walked in on the end of it, and they did like a blessing ritual
right at the end.
And the tour guy's name was Tom, and he was from Crowhaven Corner, and he did a magical blessing for the victims of the Salem witch trials of 1692,
which I thought is very awesome. And we'll get into another thing that I kind of mentioned before about there was something else that ticked Tessa and I off, but
I'll finish off on the little thingy that we walked in on the end of. So
too bad we didn't finish it. To take the little rock, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, that'll be something that we'll definitely have to do when we go on a return trip, is we'll definitely have to do this one.
Yeah.
Because we thought, like, just the ending was really cool. We could only imagine what the whole tour was like.
Right.
We wish we had more time in Salem. We would have
done it anyway.
We would have done it anyway. But the blessing that he had handed out to us
when we didn't really know at the
time that we were in the wrong place at the
until
wrong time.
Maybe we
when he mentioned that it was like the end of the tour.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of like, oh shit. But the blessing, the little blessing ritual thing that he did was actually really cool, and I'm gonna read it. And he was standing in front of an outside altar with a candle lit and everything while we were all doing this blessing. And it goes, as we do our blessing today, we ask you call on your higher power in. Please help us raise energy from within. To the victims of 1692, please let them know what was done to them was not right, as we send them love and light. In Salem town you proudly stood, Bridget Bishop, Sarah Good, Susanna Martin, Elizabeth Howe, Rebecca Nurse, we stand here now. Sarah Wilds, George Jacobs, and Martha Carrier, in your honor we build this barrier. George Burroughs and John Proctor, please accept our offer. Let us tell the world your stories, John Willard, Giles, and Martha Corey. Even as the nights get darker, Mary Eastie, Alice, and Mary Parker. Anne Pudwieder and Wilmot Reed, you did not die in vain, we plead. Help our words ring true to tell, Margaret Scott and Samuel Wardwell. And other victims of overlooked, so many other lives fear took. In your names we send the fire of love and truth and knowledge higher. And on the back of this this ritual, blessing ritual that Tom gave us from Crowhaven Corner, mistakenly because we didn't know we were in the wrong place at the wrong time. It says, the victims of 1692 Salem witch trials. And it gives the names of all of the victims that he had recited and that we all recited in the blessing. And it tells about them. Like, it tells about the, like, things about them as a person.
Yeah, like Bridget Bishop.
Like personal things. Like Bridget Bishop, for example, often confused with a young tavern owner of the same last name and rumored to have had an apple orchard. Bridget Bishop was actually an older woman who had been married 3 times. And
that's where Bridget Bishop's story gets interesting. Because she pretty much was getting accused from her husband dying. So, but the last nail in the coffin was the last husband, pretty much. And because he was trying to say that Bridget Bishop was bewitching him, and what happened to him? He died.
It essentially appeared as if she had cursed him and he died.
Pretty much is what happened.
Yeah, it's essentially what the courts believed happened.
Yep. So.
Oh, you keep murdering your husbands, you're a witch.
Yeah, that you've had 3 husbands and they've all died while they've been married to you. You're a witch. So yeah, I usually always talk about Bridget Bishop just because she not only was she the first one to get accused, but she had a very interesting quote that I used in my new book that I published in The Light and the Darkness, and I'll have to find that quote real quick, but Tessa can mention something while I'm looking, or while she looks for it, and it's in the Witches piece. Oh. And the quote from Bridget Bishop is, I am no witch. I am innocent. I know nothing of it. There's another famous Bridget Bishop quote, too, that we saw on the wall somewhere, but I don't remember the quote right now. So, unfortunately, that's going to have to be another quote I'll have to try to find at some point in time. What else, babe? What else can we talk about real quick? Unless I think that's pretty much it. Unless you wanted to talk about your... Oh, wait, no, I know what we need to talk about. So, before we went on to our tour, I noticed on the map the witch trial cemetery and the memorial where you can give respect. So we went that way, went into the cemetery, right, which is right next to where you can put down flowers and stuff.
And mementos, too.
And mementos to those that were accused and stuff like that. And,
as a means to honor them.
Yeah, pretty much to honor them. And,
so...
Yeah, I'm going to let Tessa take this.
So, Paul and I, we are walking carefully around the memorial cemetery. And we are also observing, as we are carefully walking around the headstones, that there are people, like, jumping over, like, leapfrogging over gravestones.
Laying on
top of them, trampling all over them. You know, just generally just being rude and disturbing them.
And disrespecting them.
So, Paul and I are just, like...
shaking our heads
like, wow. Like, some people are just seriously disrespectful and have no respect for the dead. And Paul's watching me walk around, like... Tiptoeing around the gravestones and stuff and, you know, being respectful as possible. And then he's seeing everybody else just pretty much running around them, running all over them, and everything else you could possibly think of to possibly disrespect.
And the best part of this story is the Salem police is, like, right there, where on the sign for the cemetery, pretty much, there's a sign that pretty much says, like, don't disrespect the dead, pretty much, and, like, and if you see any suspicious activity, that we need to notify the police. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a cop right in here, and he's not even doing jack shit.
He's just standing here, just watching people just disturb and disrespect and defile these headstones.
It makes me wonder if people really do believe that the dead still exist, can still exist.
Well, I guess they'll know for sure if they end up getting cursed from disrespecting the graves.
Well, I hope they do. I hope they do get cursed. Because then they can send them letters like people have to do with Robert in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, asking for forgiveness and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what else to do, and I mean, pretty soon we're going to be having the Day of the Dead.
Yeah, exactly. So Paul and I definitely want to do the Salem Witch Walk for Crowhaven Corner next time we go, because we just loved how they ended it. I mean, I didn't feel quite right about staying and accepting it when I didn't actually go on the tour to pay for it, that type of thing. But, like, it was nice to actually, you know, get a glimpse into the tour to see if it would be something that we actually would want to do.
Which, I mean, Tom was nice about it, at least. Like,
yeah.
He came up over to us after, and he was just like...
Joking
with us about how we realized that, like, oh shit, like, we were not even supposed to be here. Even though we were looking... We thought it was probably the start of the tour, though, because...
Mm-hmm.
Because on the paperwork, or receipt that I had for, like, the tour that we did... It said to meet like 15 minutes prior to 4:30. So we're thinking, okay, Crowhaven, Salem Witch Walk. And then instead it ended up being this whole different tour that we completely...
On Center Street.
That we came walking all the way back from. Like, we were already on that street.
Yeah, we actually had walked past it because we were coming back. We were going back to Crowhaven Corner, because that's where we thought we had to go for the tour. When in all actuality, the tour that we needed to go to, the location for it was on Center Street, which we had walked past to get to.
Central.
Yeah, Central.
Yeah. Way too many names to remember anyway, but yeah, I mean...
A lot of street names.
Yeah, if anything, when we go back, I'd love to try to find, like, Bridget Bishop's grave and take a picture of her grave and stuff.
Pay respects
and
to her.
And definitely pay respects.
I definitely want to bring an offering to her to honor her.
Yeah, because... I mean, I didn't know if we were going to even see the memorial, to be honest. I didn't know what we were going to have time for. I kind of wish we had time for the witch house, but that was, like...
On the other side of town, practically. We had no idea where the fuck it was.
Well, we knew. I knew where it was. It's just that it was way past heck.
Yeah, we didn't have enough time in the day to do everything we wanted to do.
Especially when we had the tour at 4:30. And our bus was leaving at 7:20, so by the time we even got done with our tour, it was like 6 o'clock, so we had like an hour and 20 minutes really to kill.
So
which we ate, and then we stopped into a couple more stores, and then sure enough,
it was time to leave.
It was time to leave.
So that's why I had made a suggestion to Paul that we go back, like, for example, on our, 2-year anniversary and stay overnight. That way we can have more time to explore and do more and cover more ground and do things that we didn't get a chance to do.
Yeah, especially like try out this fried sweets thing, deep fried sweet. Oh my God. Like, and when I mean by deep fried sweets is like, I'm not talking like sweets as like in like sweets. I'm talking like candy sweets.
Yeah, we're talking like they will deep fry Twinkies, Oreos, Milky Ways, Snickers bars, pretty much any freaking sweet or candy or like
candy. Pretty much.
Twinkies like a
snack food.
Like a junk food piece.
Snack food.
Yeah. But they will deep fry anything like that, and it's just like, oh boy.
It's kind of like, do I really want to try this? Like, this sounds really weird.
It's like, it sounds really weird, but it sounds really good at the same time. Do I really want to eat it? It's like, do I really want to ingest that much sugar and
bread?
Something that's deep fried. It's probably going to clog up your arteries.
Yeah. Oh well, you only live once. Might as well eat it.
I did take a really cool picture of the Salem Witch Museum at night.
What you're seeing if you're listening to just the podcast here on Podbean. If you're watching it on YouTube, you're seeing the one that I took that isn't at night.
It's when we first got there to Salem in the morning.
But it's okay. Maybe I'll add in her picture around this time, hopefully, if I remember. But yeah, pretty much that's really about it. I think the only other thing that I thought was pretty comical was when we went back to the herb shop there of yours, and that thing got knocked over, and the lady at the counter was just like, "Oh yeah, somebody just been knocking stuff over all day." Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but the ladies at Artemisian Botanicals were very helpful. Lovely ladies, very nice, and the atmosphere was very nice in that store, and I think I easily spent half an hour, if not more, in there with Paul. I also managed to get like my whole herb list that I had written up prior to us going on the Salem trip filled, so that was nice.
Yep.
But
and I got you your wolf wing ring that you wanted. Let's see. At least you got me a mug, I guess.
I had gotten you a couple of things before we went to Salem. I got you your your Salem, Massachusetts Black Cat t-shirt, which actually matches my now water bottle that I had picked up in Salem.
Yep.
And then I got you
the Ghosts of Salem book.
Ghosts of Salem book that goes with your collection of books over there.
Yep.
For like your haunted happenings.
Yep. That was it, I think. Because I remember you mentioning you wanted to at least get me something at Salem. Is what I remember.
Yeah, but the thing that I originally wanted to get you, you end up getting yourself. So.
Was that the book?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean my journal.
Yeah, so I was just
For
like,
me,
okay.
because I needed more water.
So I was originally going to get you that, but you bought it for yourself. So.
Well, yeah. Of course it was. Of course I did. I mean, duh. I've been eyeballing that thing since I've seen it on the web store.
Which was like, what, like a month or so ago, if not more?
I don't even remember. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been probably a few months, actually. Because I think we ended up buying the tour ticket back in August.
Yeah, I think so.
So, yeah, I think it's been quite a few months. Yeah.
I forget. Have you seen The Crucible?
The movie?
Yeah.
No, I don't think
Oh,
I
God,
have.
we're watching it. We are so watching it after this.
Well, now that you just brought up the Crucible, what's the Crucible?
The Crucible is about the Salem witch. What happened during the Salem
Witch trial.
Witch trials? Yeah. Playwright Arthur Miller's parable to the 1950s anti-communist crusade receives lush treatment in an Oscar-nominated film adaptation where they talk about the Salem witch trials and what happened. And Bridget Bishop is in here. What happens to Giles Corey's in this movie? Abigail Williams, Martha Corey, and like everybody else, John Proctor, and everybody is just in this movie, and it shows like their adaptation of what happened. Right.
I was just thinking, Abigail Williams isn't on the victim list, but the more I think about it, she wasn't really a victim. She was a
Abigail Williams wasn't a victim. She was more of a antagonist or a fueler to the fire. She was like gasoline.
She was the one that was accusing others.
Yeah, she was the gasoline.
Yeah.
In this, so.
Yeah, that's why I just corrected myself anyway. But I was just realizing, like, because she got executed or something.
She wound up getting executed, but
at 17 years old, 6 years after the Salem witch trial.
Yeah, but correctly. she was also in from what I saw in The Crucible, Abigail Williams had an affair with John Proctor.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, she had an affair. She was like madly in love with him.
Oh yeah, she did.
And she would do crazy, crazy things to get him back.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons why she was accusing others, too. So that way other people, ladies, couldn't have John.
Yeah, but she also partook in some, like, witchcraft stuff, too.
Well, that doesn't surprise me anyway.
But anyway, so that was pretty much our
trip to Salem.
Trip to Salem in a nutshell, and we are definitely planning a return trip. And eventually, one day, we will relocate and live there.
Yep, because everybody down there is just way too friendly, and
our kind of people.
Yeah.
Yep. Witchy and creepy and stuff, and we just love it.
Yes. Oh, there's actually one thing we couldn't talk about before we end this. You took a few pictures of them, too. The, monsters, per se.
Oh, yeah. As Paul and we were walking down Essex Street, and people have various tents and booths set up outside on the streets as you're walking down out front of shops. There are also people dressed up in various different costumes with various different props as you walk down Essex Street. To name a few, I took pictures of a guy that was dressed up as Pennywise the Clown. I took pictures of another person who had a wife, and they had like these demon babies, and they had
two demon babies, right?
Two demon babies, and like this really cool looking gothic black wicker carriage.
Yep.
Like baby stroller thing.
Yep.
That was really cool. And then there was another one of like a fortune teller with a crystal ball that was really cool. And there was another one of like a zombie bride holding like a zombie baby. And then there were others that I didn't take pictures of, but they were really cool too. And I kind of wish I had, but I didn't.
Yeah, that witch by the Bewitched statue.
Yep, there was a witch over. There was like the Wicked Witch of the West standing over in the park with the Bewitched statue. And then there was like a Frankenstein and Frankenstein's bride, like in another area. And
yeah, I mean, there's way too much.
There was a lot of different street performers and people dressed up in costume, and it was just really, really cool to see.
And we had that one guy that was trying to praise Jesus. One guy that actually had the cojones.
And we actually commend this guy's brassiness.
Yep.
For standing in the middle of Essex Street, of all places, covered almost from head to toe in Jesus Saves, Praise Jesus, God Saves, and everything else, head to toe in these flyers, on Essex Street, in which city capital? Salem.
During October. Yeah.
So we were just like, wow, this guy's got some brass
balls.
But nobody really seemed to mind him. Everybody just pretty much walked past him. And we even had one guy walk up to us with a pamphlet for a satanic temple, on Essex Street.
Why not?
But we also think that he, randomly did that because of Paul's hoodie that he was wearing at the time, which is from Black Craft Cult.
Yeah.
So that's an idea, but it was just kind of funny how he just like randomly walked up to us and handed a pamphlet and then just walked off to his post.
Yep, walk back. Yep. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
So we're just like, thanks.
So we saw a lot of interesting things when we were in Salem, and we definitely have some ideas of what we want to do when we get back there.
And we now know pretty much where everything is. So,
yeah, we pretty much know our way around, like, to the main places that we've already been to. Like, for the places that we still need to go to, we still need to navigate and find our way to those places.
Yeah.
But, like, to get to Essex Street and to get to the House of the Seven Gables and stuff like that, we pretty much know our way.
Yep. But I think that pretty much covers our trip now.
Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, because I can't think of anything else. So, yeah, I'm going to say thank you guys for listening. And don't forget that we are still doing our Smarter Than the Killer charity that ends next year in June. So you guys still have time to donate. $1 can go a long way. So maybe that $1 for coffee that you want tomorrow can actually go for, that $1 can help go for somebody paying their medical bills who is fighting cancer. Because you could maybe skip that one coffee for somebody to help somebody dying of cancer or trying to pay off their bills, right? Right?
I know I could.
Because, fuck it, if I have to, I'll just brew coffee when I get home or something. Because that dollar can go a long way. But, yeah, until then, guys, I was Paul Dolsky. I forgot if we even mentioned our names, but
You should know us by now, if
Yep.
not.
If not, I'm Paul Rolski.
And I'm Tessa Baker.
And as always,
Stay